I've been using 3D printers for a really long time now, and 8 years ago, I uploaded a video to this channel called hashtag 3D printing on YouTube. The idea was simple: 5 questions about 3D printing that I would answer and then pass on to the community to share their knowledge and insights into this incredible technology.
Well, let's be honest. I wouldn't consider myself a part of the 3D printing community on YouTube, but I do 3D print and I do create content on YouTube. I watch a lot of content on YouTube. So why not? I'll do the response. Here's my hashtag 3D printing on YouTube video for anyone curious. Maker's Muse posts this up, and this is 3-ish weeks ago at this point. So that's just how far behind I am on my YouTube notifications, which is fine. I create for YouTube as well as watch a lot of YouTube. It's my main source of entertainment, and I actually go through my notifications. Like, that's how I watch YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and do this for you, for anyone that happens to watch my content that is also curious about 3D printing, because I actually just recently released a video, probably about a month ago now, about how I designed and made a small little part for my engine. So when did I first hear about 3D printing? Honestly, I don't remember exactly. As some of you know, I did have an incident that happened in 22. The result of those injuries is I have some memory problems. But I do remember hearing about it quite a long time ago. I think I heard some whispers about like the technology in the industrial side in college, which was 10 years ago now. Over 10 years ago. I graduated in 13. So yeah, there were some whispers going on then. And then after that, my friends started getting into it. And then as they were talking about it around me, probably about 5-ish years ago, it started popping up on my feeds. And then I got that ad to pre-order the Ender 3 S1 Pro. And that actually wound up being the first machine I got, and that's where I started. What was the first thing you 3D printed? Well, let's be frank. Most of us probably, especially those of us that have been doing it for a while, the first thing we printed is probably like a calibration print at home, right? Now, in Maker's Muse's experience, he was in college doing it, so he had like industrial level machinery that you can play with, so those should already have been calibrated by the professionals running it. But if you're doing it at home, you're probably going to run a calibration print. You're going to run a benchy. You're going to run temperature towers. You're going to do stuff, especially on like cheaper machines, because you really need to find a way to calibrate those things. However, even lately, the cheaper machines have been getting a lot better, but I'm still not going to buy one now because I spoiled myself. The first actual thing I probably printed was just like random decorative things. The Flexi dragons and stuff like that. Just random stuff. I've got little models and figures everywhere. I've given them to so many friends. I've even printed so many benchies on that S1 Pro, trying to get different filaments figured out, that there was a giant benchy file that was like cut. I mean, it was huge. You had to print it in 2 pieces, and it was cut and sliced in a way to where it's like a giant wave on an ocean for you to put all your benchies on. And so I did stuff like that. I mean, just decorative stuff. And then I started getting into functional things. I've designed a few things just for stuff around the house. And as you know, with the RB, I made those little gaskets, washer things. And yeah, so that's really it. Just calibration stuff. And then I eventually got into functional prints. Do you view 3D printing as a hobby or a tool, and why? I personally view 3D print... It says 3D printing. So I personally view it, 3D printers, as a tool. As with everything, a tool can be a hobby. There are hobbyist carpenters, there are hobbyist welders, there are hobbyist car enthusiasts where a car is more than just a tool to go A to B. I got into that on 3D printing for a little bit, realized that like my life has, I have so many other hobbies that I enjoy doing, hence PC, hence simulator, hence really, really expensive car, that I couldn't really do that. I don't have the time, I don't have the finances for it. So it became a tool. I started trying to make money off of it, realized I didn't have enough money to fund the facilities to make a whole lot of money on it. There's a lot of people that think like, I can just start making buku bucks with 1 or 2 printers. Like, no. Nowadays, you need a farm because everything's flooded. It's become commercialized now, and it is very much industrialized for cheap toys. You can find 3D printed stuff in like supermarkets now. So, yeah, you better have some big upfront investment capital if you want to do it as use 3D printing and 3D printers as a tool to be a primary source of income. For me now, it is strictly a tool for personal use, unless a friend or some acquaintances come up and want to commission me for something, help me cover the cost of materials and some of my time, and I'll see what I can do for you. I don't have a problem with that. I totally get the hobbyist side, though. As you know, this channel is mostly about cars. I totally get the hobbyist side, and I do not have any issues with that at all. Please, if you're a hobbyist printer, do it. It is a fun space to get into, especially if you're a tinkerer. If you're not, you're going to want to spend more money on a good printer, so you're not having to tinker with your tool to use it to make the things you want to use, or use it to make the things you want to make. What is the best 3D printer according to me? So I have some experience in both resin and filament printers. So I'll give you a little bit of input on both. For me personally, the best filament printer is essentially anything from Bamboo Lab. All of them are pretty much plug and play. I'm not a shill. They never sent me anything. But I've had 3 different Creality printers. I've had a Ender 3 Pro, one version, I don't really know. Sold that to a friend. I had the 3S1 whatever, S1 Pro thing, and got rid of that. And then I actually won the K1 in a Creality giveaway. That thing barely ever worked for me, so I actually wound up trading that for a 3D scanner with another somewhat popular 3D printing content creator, Maker's Mind Nexus. You might be familiar if you're in the 3D printing space. Really cool dude. So yeah, definitely if you've got the money, get the X1 Carbon combo so you can have the AMS. If you don't have the money, the A1 Mini is apparently a fantastic printer. I guess get the combos if like you want multi-material stuff or multicolor stuff. Otherwise, you can just print in a solid color and paint it, prep and paint. And then on the resin side, I've had basically the same number of resin printers as I have filament printers. So I had the Elegoo Mars Pro. It was good for what it was. It's old now. They have multiple versions, so that's a good small scale printer. I have the Apex Maker X1. Don't recommend Apex Maker at all. It's huge, but the quality's not there. I spent a lot of money, got all 3 machines. I got the printer, I got the wash station, and the cure box. The printer arrived damaged. I sort of got it working, but there's features that they sold it on that don't work. The wash station, the motor broke in a day, and they wouldn't replace it. And the cure station was sold to also have a heat cure feature. It's even in the UI. It's all in there. Doesn't work. And I'm actually trying to sell these things to someone that wants to fix them or is okay tinkering, because the X1 printer does work. It just doesn't work for me. It's too big. I wouldn't even say it's fast. It's fast for resin, but I wouldn't say it's fast. And it's also because I upgraded to a different printer, and I will get to that in just a second. But yeah, they all arrived damaged in some way. Trying to get rid of them. The fact that they sold these things to have features that they don't even have the equipment in the machines for them to do. Like both the printer and the cure station are supposed to have heating features, and neither of them have that. So those are sitting around collecting dust at the moment as a way for someone to pick them up who wants them. But I will say, if you want high quality, decent speed, and a good size, I picked up the Uniformation GK2. They have a bundle that comes with their also wash station and cure station. All 3 of those machines are beautiful. They all work with 0 issues for me, other than calibrating for your different resins and your environment. Doesn't take a whole lot. They pretty much just work just fine. The wash and cure station on those is cool. Their wash station is just a little ultrasonic cleaner, so if you already have one of those, just fill it with whatever cleaner works with your resin and go with that. I do prefer the style of wash station that Apex Maker has, because they have a giant plate in there that's supposed to turn and agitate. whatever cleaning solution you use. I do prefer that style, but yeah. So in my opinion, best filament is X1 carbon and best resin is the Uniformation GK2. And the last question, what is your #1 tip for beginners? I'm going to give one for two different kinds of people, right? So if you're coming in as a tool, my #1 tip is do your research. Figure out what you want to do. If you're doing it to try to make a whole bunch of stuff to sell, then you need to make sure that you have the capital and you can put it in you know, the different areas where things need to be, your printers, your materials, consider your electricity bill, I mean, all of that stuff. And make sure you're ready to, I mean, bust your ass, because it's such a flooded market now that you're going to have to do a lot. I agree with Maker's Muse about 3D modeling as well, especially if you're getting into sell things. Know how to model, and at the very least, you can sell your models or do what a lot of them do, a lot of creators do, and offer a subscription service for your models, whether it's just for personal use or you can do a commercial license. You can do all of that. The designers in this space I'd be willing to bet the designers in this space make more money than the printers, just because of how many printers are out there. This is the easy side of it. Not many people can 3D model, not many people can design, not many people can do it, make it look good and functional. So if you're getting into 3D printing space to make money, be a designer. That's my opinion. If you're into the hobbyist end, I mean, place your money where you want, right? Make sure you're getting a printer that gives you the options you want to do. If you want to be able to upgrade to expand your ecosystem, or you just like tinkering with sort of industrial-based machinery, once again, it's do your research. Find printers and materials and companies that offer options you're looking for. But if you want something that just plug and plays and goes, apparently the Prusa Mark IV-S is good at that. I'm assuming the Prusa XL is good at that, or going to be good at that soon if you're into multi-material printing with multiple print heads, which is kind of ideal for me. I want a Prusa XL pretty bad, but it's not exactly where I want it to be yet. If that was enclosed, that would probably be ideal for me. I do like an enclosed system, which is why I got the X1 Carbon. It's cheaper than the Prusa XL, but it does go through more material with the poop process. So definitely, I mean, for both, I guess it's the same tip. Do your research and educate yourself on what you're gonna do. Get really good in your slicer, get really good in your 3D modeling programming, and if you're getting in it for sales, get really good at marketing. Yeah, learn as many tips and tricks as you can. Like the one that I recently picked up that is huge for me right now is, instead of just using a purge tower, use a purge object, because my purge towers fail all the time on tall items. I just printed a phone stand that needed a purge tower, so it was multicolor. I painted it in bamboo slicer. Had I used a purge object, I wouldn't have had the failures that I had. So even having been doing this for probably about 4 or 5 years at this point, I'm still learning. There's a lot of new stuff happening. Scarf joints are a recent thing that happens, which are super cool. And yeah, I think that's it. So Maker's Muse, thank you. This is a cool idea. I really appreciate just the thought of bringing communities together. And yeah, so if you're looking to get into 3D printing, here's my 3D printing on YouTube 5 questions answered. Y'all have a good one, and I'll catch you soon.